The eviction moratorium and you. If you are facing an eviction, this video is for you. Stay tuned. Are you facing an eviction on July 31st due to the end of the eviction moratorium? Have you gotten behind on your rent due to COVID but still haven't gotten caught up? Has your landlord done something that you feel is unethical in order to get you out of your property? If so, keep watching to see how you can use legal defenses to pause or prevent your eviction. Newsflash: the federal eviction moratorium is ending on July 31st. That means that if you fell behind on your rent since March of 2020 and still have not caught up, you face eviction. Some states have allowed evictions to proceed after the first phase of quarantine ended in 2020, but some states have not due to there still being a federal law in place. Don't panic. Life happens. At one point or another, many people encounter situations like this and find themselves scrambling for a way out, for answers, for help. The truth is, businesses are reopening and millions have taken the vaccine. But does that mean that everything is back to normal? Absolutely not. There were still months when many people were out of work due to occupancy restrictions in many businesses. Just because the gap was open didn't mean that they could have a full staff of employees in the building. Most businesses had restrictions on their business hours because they had to close early and open late for extra cleaning. Walmart was one of them, with over 2.3 million people on its workforce. That's people that couldn't work their usual night shifts because Walmart had to close early. The situation stands that many people were out of work or had reduced hours, which equates to reduced income. How about the people that lost their sole breadwinner due to COVID? How were they expected to find a job that paid as much as their lost loved one in less than 30 days and pay the rent? That's real. Stimulus checks just weren't there in time enough for people to stay afloat. So here are some common defenses that you can use to pause or fight an eviction you may be facing. Do any of these apply to you? The terms and conditions of your lease agreement combined with local laws can give you powerful protections against unlawful evictions. Number 1, if the landlord accepted a partial rent payment or other compensation. If you paid only a portion of your rent and your landlord accepts it, knowing that the partial payment does not meet the lease requirements, the landlord may lose their right to evict you during that rent period. If you make a partial payment, your landlord might try to get you to sign something saying you waive your rights to claim this defense. Don't sign it yet. Number 2, if the landlord failed to make repairs that made the unit habitable. If your landlord failed to make repairs that they are responsible for under the terms of your lease or federal, state, or local laws, and you paid for the repairs out of your own pocket, you may be able to deduct the money you spent from your rent payment, and your landlord cannot evict you for failure to pay rent. Federal and state laws require landlords to fulfill certain obligations to their tenants. If they fail to meet these obligations, they generally forfeit the right to evict you and may even owe you money. Tenants have the right to a safe living environment with working utilities. If you give your landlord proper notice of a defect and they fail to fix it, you have a strong defense against eviction. No matter how much you owe, you may even have a claim for rent reduction. Number 3, the landlord has prevented you access to the property. Even if you haven't paid rent, if your landlord has blocked you from the premises, removed your property, or otherwise made it impossible for you to live in the property, like cutting off the utilities such as gas, water, or electric, you may have a defense against eviction. Number 4, the landlord is filing a retaliatory eviction. If you have done something that is well within your legal rights to do, such as reporting your landlord to a regulatory agency for discrimination, and your landlord files eviction proceedings against you thereafter, you may defend yourself by claiming the eviction was unlawful. If you received an eviction notice after taking any of the following actions: reporting your landlord for code violations, reporting your landlord for discrimination, exercising your rights within your lease in regards to subletting or having a pet on the premises, asserting renter rights under local, state, or federal laws, or paying rent into an escrow account instead of directly to your landlord when there is a dispute, you may be a victim of a retaliatory eviction. To be clear, your landlord doesn't even have to initiate a formal eviction. The retaliatory eviction defense can apply even if your landlord suddenly raises your rent, refuses to renew your month-to-month lease, refuses to allow you access to the property, or turns off any of your utilities. The courts will generally assume that the action was taken in retaliation if the action was taken within a certain time period, typically within 60 days to 1 year from your instigating action. The Fair Housing Act and you. Many other violations of your lease covered under the Fair Housing Act prevent your landlord from evicting you due to race, religion, or gender, and they can become strong defenses. If any of these situations apply to you, give me a call. Call 803-877-1800.